Jimmy. He is trolling us Heat fans once again. One of the most fun players and interesting players in the NBA. Had a lot of fun over the weekend, sparking, pun intended, with some trade rumors. This is the Heat Report by Chat Sports. I'm Nic Rohloff. We're going to break it all down in today's episode. But before we do that, it's the young GOAT's birthday, baby. My guy, Nikola Jovic, is turning 21 years old. Yes, he is still the youngest player on the Heat, entering his third season upcoming. I'm very excited for year 3 for Jovic, 21 years old. Now he can officially drink in the States. Spam those HBDs for Nikola Jovic to wish him a happy birthday, and let's hope that he can have a monster third season, assuming he is still on the Heat's roster. All right, let's get into what Jimmy Butler did this weekend, because he headed to Los Angeles to go watch one of the most fascinating rookies in the WNBA, Cameron Brink out of Stanford, who does play for the Los Angeles Sparks. And, well, he had some fun with the media. One quote he had, there's two of them we'll get to. He said, while getting interviewed during the game on the sidelines, he says, "For some reason, 22 looks good in the purple and gold." Well, some people took that as, does he want to play with LeBron and Anthony Davis in Los Angeles, wear 22 in the purple and gold for the Lakers? I do want to make this abundantly clear that 22 is also the same number that Cameron Brink wears. So I think he knows what he's doing, having a little fun, giving panic to Heat fans, but I think he's also saying Cameron Brink looks good out there. She's really good. Number 2 overall pick. She's balling. I'm just here to support her. But then there was also this quote that sparked some more trade rumors. This happened after the game. He said, "Y'all see this jersey shirt I'm wearing," which he was repping Brink's 22. Purple and gold says, not Butler, unfortunately, just Brink. Sorry, LA fans coming in from Butler there. He likes to have a lot of fun with the media, I'll say that. But after hearing the two different quotes he had about 22 and purple and gold with the Lakers, the Sparks, do you think these comments mean something or anything to Jimmy Butler? If you believe they do mean something in terms of him wanting to get traded, type Y. If you think they're just all fun and games, type N for no. I'm not going to buy into anything Jimmy says because, well, if you know anything about Butler and you've seen what he's done over the past 5 seasons in Miami, you know he likes to do a lot of weird things off the court, whether it be wearing extensions to media day, whether it be going emo for media day. He does a lot of random stuff that brings Heat fans questioning what he does. But we do know that he wants an extension, right? That is something that is abundantly clear. Butler wants to get paid more money. He is currently under contract for this upcoming season, but the year after is a $52 million player option where he could opt in or he can opt out. So he wants an extension to guarantee that year plus get one more season. And to me, he does deserve an extension from Miami. I understand. He's turning 35 in September. He's going to be a little bit older, and you're going to be paying him a lot of money either way if you give him an extension or not. But what he's done in Miami warrants an extension. If you would have told Heat fans that he brought you as the number 1 option to 2 NBA Finals, the number 1 seed in 1 year, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, when you did that sign-and trade in the 2019 offseason, you would have taken that and ran. So Butler has done everything Heat fans and the Heat front office could have wanted and more for this organization. And I do want to make it very simple for you at home to understand what Jimmy Butler wants and would get if he does get that extension. As I mentioned, this year he's under contract. It's all guaranteed for $48.8 million. In 25-26, this is his current contract. It is a player option worth $52.4 million. But if Jimmy were to get a 2-year Supermax extension from the Miami Heat, which is what he wants, this is what it would turn into. The player option becomes guaranteed in 25-26. He'd get $2 million raise basically for that season, $54.3 million. But he would also get another guaranteed season in 26-27 for $58.6 million. So realistically, all you're doing is adding one more year to his current contract and guaranteeing it at $58.6 million. There's really not that big of a deal to extend him. You're just locking him in for one extra season. More to talk about with Jimmy, but if he does get that extension or the Heat say they're not going to extend Jimmy Butler, which would only create more trade rumors surrounding 22, we will have a video, so make sure you lock us in and subscribe to the channel. Like I just mentioned, you're only giving Jimmy one more year because you have him under contract, or you hope to have him under contract for the next 2 seasons, assuming he would opt in the player option. But if you don't extend him, you run the risk of him opting out and go getting that 2-year Supermax extension to a different team in free agency, and you lose him for nothing after having him for 1 more year. We've talked about it, and people might bring up the point of him being 35 years old, his ability to finish around the rim declining a little bit, which I'm not disputing that because the numbers are suggesting he's becoming a worse finisher around the rim, but he also did improve his jump shot a little bit this year. He needs to shoot more of them because he sometimes passes up open catch-and-shoot threes, which drive me absolutely mad. But either way, you see the jump in three-point shooting percentage this past season. Not on that many attempts, but did shoot 41.5% from 3. Like, that is very good. And as he continues to go up in age and play 35, 36, 37-year-old seasons, he's going to have to become much more of a catch-and-shoot three-point threat from beyond because he's not going to have the physicality, explosiveness, and athleticism to drive by his opponents as much as he did over the past 2 or 3 seasons and finish at the rim. So if he does continue to improve that jumper and take more of them, yes, to me, it is worth extending Jimmy Butler and locking him in for another season. More to continue the conversation, including what a trade would look like with the Lakers, by the way. But we are sponsored by Prize Picks, the #1 daily fantasy sports app. Join more than 5 million members playing on a daily basis. It's the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections, and you can win up to 100 times your cash right now. Yes, you heard that correctly. You can turn $10 into $1,000 with just a single game watching your favorite sports this summer, including the NBA Finals, which if you're watching this on Sunday, you can get in on Game 2 action with the NBA Finals. I already have a 3-player entry for that game, and you can get boost when you pick star players in your lineup. Yes, that is what is also fun about Prize Picks, which I have. More than Jason Tatum's 7.5 3-point attempts, that adds a 10% boost to this potential payout. I took the less than on Porzingis, 15.5 points, and more than on Derek White, PJ Washington, 27.5 points combined. It's usually a 3-player entry to win 5 times my money, but because of Prize Picks daily specials, including the stars for the NBA Finals, it is 5.5 times my money potentially, which is why I love playing Prize Picks because they have those daily specials. So download the app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100, or just click on that link in the description and comments, prizepicks.com/CLNS, code CLNS to get a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less, that simple. Shout out Prize Picks. I've said this in the past, but I'm just going to double down on it. It would be absolutely idiotic and bad front office management to trade Jimmy Butler. There's a couple reasons why I think that. One, because I still think Jimmy and Bam, if you get them a third person to help shoulder the load for the regular season and also take some of the burden off in the postseason offensively, that duo plus one more guy can win you an NBA Finals. But also just treating your star who resurrected your franchise after 5 seasons would just be bad, like, faith, if you will. Like, you were in the gutter. You were in purgatory before Jimmy decided to want to come and play in South Beach, man. So, to me, you got to do right by him, give him his money, and have him end his career in Miami. But say he requests a trade, and you don't give him that extension, and he specifically requests the Los Angeles Lakers because of the comments he made over the weekend. This is what the best trade idea would look like, in my opinion, from the Lakers, and we'll talk about how I don't really think they can trade for Butler, but this would be the deal. D'Angelo Russell, he'd have to opt into his $18 million player option that he has for the offseason and then be put in this trade alongside Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, their 17th pick in last year's draft, Jalen Hood-Schifino, 6'5" guard with a 6'10" wingspan out of Indiana, plus 2 unprotected first-round picks in 2025 and 2029. And then you give them Jimmy, and you'd also guarantee Orlando Robinson's $2 million contract and send it to the Lakers to make these salaries match up at $50 million in and out. But the thing is like the Lakers have nothing I want. And sure, Jalen Hood-Schifino is an intriguing prospect. And if you go back a year, he was the person I wanted the Heat to draft the most with the 18th overall pick. But the Lakers took him at 17, and the Heat benefited by it by getting Jaime Jaquez Jr. But to me, Vanderbilt doesn't bring you anything offensively. Hachimura is a solid like fifth or sixth man, and D'Lo to me is just not a winning basketball player. So you're not getting anything to really benefit your roster now. Like those are some decent role players if you have an infrastructure and already placed. But you make this deal, you're kind of committing to the youth movement, and Hood-Schifino is not a good enough of a headliner to get the package rolling, in my opinion, and I am just simply not trading Jimmy Butler to anything Los Angeles has because they don't have anything that really intrigues me outside of Hood-Schifino and future first-round picks. So would you do this trade? You can disagree with me, though, and accept it if you would. Type A, or if you're like me and wouldn't want to do anything with this trade, type D for decline. There's also a little bit of a rumor out there that the Cleveland Cavaliers could potentially want Jimmy Butler in a trade to pair up with Donovan Mitchell. Obviously, Miami has been rumored to have interest in D-Mitch for themselves, but could the Cavs want Jimmy Butler? Well, Keith Pompey, who covers the 76ers, kind of had this hypothetical. He said that this is just me talking. I didn't ask anybody questions or anything like that, but the one team that if they were willing to trade Jimmy, Miami that is, I don't know if they are, but the one team I would pay attention is the Cavaliers because Rich Paul said if you give Mitchell an extension, then you know that they probably want to get Darius Garland out of there. And yes, that last part is true about if Mitchell signs a long-term deal, Garland probably is going to request a trade, but Jimmy Butler is not going to want to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And if he did request a trade from the Miami Heat due to the lack of an extension, I think the Heat would try to do right by him to a certain degree. Like they'd say, hey, Jimmy, where do you want to go? And they'd try to work that angle. Now, if he says the Philadelphia 76ers, that's a different story because I don't think Miami would trade him to Philly because they're a rival and I don't think they want to give him to the Sixers. But if he said like the Lakers or something like that, well, maybe then they would try to help him out in that fashion. But Jimmy Butler would not request going to the Cavs. And the thing that is intriguing about the Cavaliers is what would they even offer for Jimmy Butler? I came up with a trade idea that, I'm going to be honest, I don't think the Cavs would want to do. I don't think the Heat would want to do it, but it would be the only way I would consider a deal with the Cleveland Cavaliers. You are getting both Darius Garland and Evan Mobley, and you give up Jimmy Butler in a 2030 first. I got to be honest, Garland and Mobley is probably way too good of a package for just Jimmy. That's why I think you give him a first-round pick as well. Because this is an interesting young duo. I mean, Garland, I question his ability to be like a leading man on a winning roster due to his size or lack of at that guard position and not good of a defender. We've also seen Garland struggle in the postseason the past 2 years, but he is someone that is a solid regular season player that can really lead an offense in terms of playmaking and shot making. And Evan Mobley's intriguing because the former top 5 pick out of USC is someone I've been high on in the league. He gobbles up boards. He's one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. And a back or front court, of Mobley and Bam would be the best defensive front court in the NBA. The issue with Mobley, and the thing that has made me disappointed in the young man from USC, is his lack of offensive growth. I thought he was going to be able to create his own shot off the dribble in like mid to high post areas and really become a stretch 4 threat, almost similar to Chris Bosh. Like I thought that was Mobley's ceiling, but he has really struggled to continue to grow offensively over the past couple of years, even though he does shoot 37% from 3. Very low attempts, though, not a lot of volume there. I don't think the Cavs would even do this trade, though, because like I said, I think Mobley and Garland would be too much to give up. They would get a first-round pick where they could package first-rounders to go out and acquire a third guy to pair up with Mitchell and Jimmy Butler, potentially. And they already have role players in place like Strus, George Niang. They have Jared Allen there as well to be that front court piece. But I don't think Cleveland would want to send out Mobley. I think they're not ready to give up on him yet. Garland would definitely be a part of the deal, but I'm only doing it for both of them because there is a way this team could stay competitive in Miami. If you have Mobley and Bam in the front court, Garland as your point guard, you probably would trade one of Terry and Tyler plus that 15th overall pick to try to get a wing piece to replace Jimmy Butler. But it would be an intriguing roster because if you did make that deal and say you traded Hero, your lineup could be Duncan, Garland in the backcourt, Jaquez Mobley Bam with Jovic coming off the bench and whoever you trade Hero in that pick for. It'd be intriguing, but I don't think the Cavs would do it. And I got to be honest, I probably wouldn't do it either. I want to keep Jimmy Butler. We can continue the conversation over on Twitter. At Nic_Rohloff is my handle. If you have any questions on the Miami Heat, draft prospects, anything you need surrounding Miami, my Twitter is the best place to go do it. Want more coverage in between each video as well, so go follow me on Twitter at Nic_Rohloff.